Well, my name is Mike Pearson, and I don't have a claim to fame. I'm here because I've had a wonderful life, a wonderful career in law enforcement, and I was fortunate enough to have my son nominate me, much to my surprise. So I was notified that I was being inducted into the Wall of Fame when I got a letter. That's the first I heard about it.
Wow. That alone, to have your son make the nomination.
Exactly right. The honor is wonderful, but knowing that my son thought enough of me to do that makes me feel great. And that's my claim. If I have a claim to fame, it's my two sons. They're just wonderful kids.
Well, obviously MSU has impacted the man that you've become. How has it impacted the career you've had?
Oh, probably in ways I couldn't even describe, but the obvious ones were when you come to a large school like MSU, when you're exposed to so many different things. I was exposed to what I came here for, the knowledge of law and law enforcement, but then I was exposed to so many different cultures, so many different ways of doing things, so many different people who had differing views where you could sit down and discuss them, not like you did around the family where you could argue, but eventually you're all brought up the same. But now you're sitting down with people that look at the world differently, and you get an idea of where they're coming from. And it's not a matter of right or wrong. I think initially when I looked at it, it was. What we did was right, the way we grew up was right, this is the way things should be. But a large place, in a school like Michigan State, you get the academic background, but you get to meet so many people with differing views, and you really get to discuss these, so you learn a lot. And what you thought was true may not necessarily be true.
And how did that diversity impact you when you're working on the street?
Well, it did in a number of ways. I grew up in Detroit, so I already understood diversity, or believed I did. But my first part of my career was a military police officer in the Army. So the soldiers that worked for me came from all over the country, different ethnicities. In fact, when I'd been there 6 months, the Army opened the military police to women, so then we had different genders. And these, we had the training, but essentially they were all soldiers and were there to do a job for our nation. So you had to look, and how are you going to get all these people to do the job? And too many people look at the Army not understanding it as, well, you just give orders and they have to do it. Well, true, there's a legal authority there, but that's not why soldiers follow. And you learn right away that soldiers follow because they trust their leadership. They believe that the leadership, A, knows what they're doing, and B, has the soldier's interest at heart. They're not going to do stupid things.
How do you keep from developing cynicism for the human race when you see so much of the dark side?
You do see a lot of the dark side all over. How do you prevent the cynicism? Part of it is an attitude. Look for the good. Remember where you came from. Remember what you know, not just what you experience on a day-to-day level. But look at the day-to-day for the good and what really happens in your family, in the people that you know that are working with, the issues they're going through and how they're responding to them. That's how you do it. I read an article years ago about a guy that was shot. When he was taken to the hospital, he was asked how he was doing, and he said, okay, and he made a joke about it. And when he was asked afterwards why he made a joke about it, and his response was, every day I get up, I have to decide how I'm going to respond to things. And if I keep the positive attitude, then I'm going to have a good day. And you've got to do things like that. And I don't mean artificially. You've got to understand that most of what happens to you in your life, it's your reaction to it that causes the grief, the sorrow. So if you can look at that in a better way, you're going to do better.
How old's your son?
The one that nominated me is 28.
So when he was, I assume, was he a Spartan? Did he go to Michigan?
He graduated criminal justice at Michigan State. Yes.
So what advice did you give him when he was on the cusp of graduation about success in life?
Well, first of all, I told him about his success in his chosen profession. I told him and he's a DEA agent, I told him that what you want to do is go to a large city where you can learn a lot of different things in the first 2, 3, 4 years. It's too easy to go to a place that is a lot of fun, but you only learn one thing. And then when you get promoted, you don't have the skill set that's needed. So take those first few years, learn as much as you can on different things. and remember why you took the job, what you wanted out of it, and what you're doing. And what you're doing is helping people.